Earlier in the season, we talked about a new initiative in Nebraska called ReTree Nebraska, which intends to plant 1 million trees in 10 years across the state. We have back with us this evening State Forester Scott Josiah to talk a little bit more about that program and particularly about some species that we're recommending. Scott, you want to talk a little bit about the impact of the recent nasty storms all the way across the state and in the region, in fact, and some of the kinds of things that you've seen in terms of tree damage and the species that were damaged?
Sure, it really shows you how non-diverse our community forests are. You know, some of the biggest damages that occurred were on silver maple and Bradford pear and some of those species that are way overplanted, and they just got torn up by the storm. So it's a real message over and over again that we're getting with every storm to diversify our community forest by planting a number of different species.
Scott, ReTree has talked a lot about planting a lot of trees, but what we really want to stress is the diversity of species. Is anything going on with the program right now that will help people understand what we mean by that?
Well, ReTree has developed a new program called the 8 for 08 program, which is, we've gone through the vast list of trees that are adapted and preferred for Nebraska already, but selected 8 that we felt were underutilized to enhance diversity across the state. They're a wonderful set of species, from smaller trees to very large trees, and we think that they'll do just fine in terms of diversifying our community forest resource.
Scott, are people going to be able to actually find these trees that we are suggesting that they use in the local nurseries? Are we going to have to send them to different sources to be able to find the diversity that we're after?
We think that most of these tree species are available in the nursery industry right now. Some of them you might need to go online for, but we'd like to generate demand for these species over time, because this is only the first of 10 years that we're doing this. Next year it'll be 9 for 09, the following year it'll be 10 for 010. It'll be the same species year after year, just adding one. Each tree will have a tag, this particular tag attached to it of those 8 species. In the nurseries, it's a cooperative effort with the nursery industry. And we're really proud of this program, and we think it's going to really add to the diversity of our community forest.
Okay, Scott, we're going to put you on the spot here. If you only had room in your own property for one more tree, off of this list of 8 for 08, what would you plant and why?
Well, as a forester, I have no more room in my yard, but if I did, I would definitely plant a Kentucky coffee tree. It's a wonderful species. Once it's mature, it's a beautiful tree. It stands up to damage really well in these kinds of storms. It looks almost tropical in its foliage. It's just a beautiful tree. It's a great addition to a landscape.
Thanks, Scott. We want our audience to make sure that you go to retreenebraska.unl.edu for more information. We will keep you posted as the season progresses and as the decade progresses as we look at planting 8 for 08 into the future.